Hello and welcome to Star Wars, the best place for below average Star Wars. Alan is away on a shooting trip this week at Beggars Canyon. Let's hope he brings us some wombats back. But I'm your host Peter and I'm joined by our other host Katie. Katie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. It's been a slow news week in Star Wars. Obviously, D23 is taking place this coming weekend, so all the news is going to drop then. So that's what we'll talk about, just D23 quickly, and then we'll dive straight into our big topic today, which is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a new game coming from Respawn Entertainment and EA Games. But back to D23. Katie, it's been said we're definitely going to get a Mandalorian trailer. Jon Favreau's released that. Are you excited about seeing the Mandalorian trailer?
I am, yeah. So I've obviously watched the films and stuff, but in terms of watching companion TV shows and things like that, I've never really got into it. So I'm quite excited to kind of have one that I can get into from the start. And yeah, I think I'll probably pay a lot more attention than the other one. So I'm excited for that. It's there's a lot more excitement around it, I think, from the type of people that I follow on social media. So yeah, I'm excited to see that.
Brilliant. Well, it is the most expensive television show in history at the moment, with $10 million an episode budget.
So it does need to be good then.
Yeah, and I'm sure, well, the creative team behind it is great. Obviously, I was in the Mandalorian panel celebration in Chicago this year. We did see a trailer there, as well as a lot of behind-the-scenes features. It could be the same trailer they're dropping, or they might have developed a new trailer. Either way, I can't wait to see it, because I've never actually looked, because I think there's bootleg trailers from Celebration Online.
Yeah.
But I've never actually looked to find them, so I've never seen it since I saw it in the actual auditorium at Celebration. So I'm just hoping that they drop the trailer and they drop it online as well, because I would love to catch that. And then obviously Rise of Skywalker, our big movie coming this December. We're expecting a behind the scenes reel that we usually get this time of year. We did for Force Awakens and we did for The Last Jedi. Are you excited about that, or do you feel it's a bit filler between now and the next trailer?
I mean, it is filler, it is designed to fill, but I do quite like behind the scenes footage. It does make you feel a little bit more like part of the process. Like, we go to the cinema and we see a 2 or 3 hour film, but getting to see those behind the scenes of what's taken people months to make, it is quite nice to see all the extra stuff that goes on behind. So it is filler, it's designed to be filler, but I quite like watching them.
Yeah, I find that the behind the scenes reels almost make me feel nostalgic, because it's not just behind the scenes. It's Lucasfilm that produce it. They've got the John Williams score going over the top subtly, and you can hear that, and it transports you. And then obviously they'll show you things that you're familiar with straight away. There'll be an R2D2 head, a Chewbacca wig. They'll show you a C-3PO chest plate. Obviously for the Force Awakens reel, we had Mark Hamill narrating over the top to start with. With The Last Jedi, it was Anthony Daniels starting narrating it, so probably have a legacy character again narrating over the top.
Yeah.
Obviously, haven't got many legacy characters left in the story, and sadly, obviously, Carrie's still in the story, but is no longer with us to do it. Who do you think the legacy character could be? Who starts the narration?
I feel like it's got to be Hamill again, to be honest. I don't know who else it could be. But not that that's a bad thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, it would be obviously great if Carrie was still here and she could do it. But, he has got a lovely voice for doing voiceovers, so...
He does. I've got an idea, and I want to listen to what you think of this, but what if obviously they did something in Celebration where the Emperor's Laugh, and Ian McDiarmid came out on stage and did a bit of Roll It Again. What if they start the narration off with Ian McDiarmid, of the Emperor's voice? It would totally
I think that would be really good, and it would have been really good if no one had thought of it, and it would have caught everyone off guard, but now you thought of it. So maybe they're watching guys, we're going to have to completely reshoot the thing, because Peter's guessed it. We're going to have to change it. No, that would be really good. And it would be something that, not necessarily nobody guessed, but it would have caught people off guard, because people will be looking to kind of the main heroes of the story. But yeah, no, it would be cool.
Definitely. And Disney, Lucasfilm, I'm very cheap if you want to hire me. I'll probably do it for just accommodation and food in a few figures. thrown in for good measure. Yeah, so that is the news this week, pretty much. Just obviously the D23, what's coming. Obviously, hopefully Alan will be back next week, and me and Alan will be delving straight into everything that we've seen and heard from D23. So be sure to look forward to that. But now going into our topic of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So it's coming out on the 15th of November. It's developed by Respawn Entertainment and EA Games, and it's going to be available on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC, I believe. Katie, you play some games. What consoles are you playing?
I play mostly PS4. I have like PC just for the sake of playing Civ. I love a bit of Civilization. I do have an Xbox, but I don't play it as much as I play my PlayStation. PlayStation's kind of the main one I game on. But we were always a PlayStation handful growing up, weren't we? So I think we've just stuck with that. Because obviously we've both got PlayStation 4s. But yeah, so PlayStation's always what I've just stuck with.
Good. Me too. I've never played an Xbox. I've always owned a PlayStation. I don't even play many games, to be honest with you. That's why I brought you on, because you play more than me. I play about 2 to 3 titles a year. I'm not a fan of multiplayer or online. I prefer a meaty story. Take me on an adventure is what I like. But to start with, we're going to talk about the gameplay features. Sort of features they're pushing in their narrative at the moment. Obviously, they've had a couple of big panels of released gameplay footage, substantial gameplay footage online. So we're going to delve into that first. So what are you getting vibing from what you've seen of the gameplay so far for this game?
I'm really looking forward to it. I was trying to think of the last Star Wars game I'd played properly, and it was probably the Episode 3 game on like PS2. That was probably the last Star Wars game I played properly, because Battlefront, because it was online and it didn't have a big story mode. I know Battlefront 2 had those 6 hours, but I haven't got it. I haven't played it. It wasn't really connecting with me.
So that's the new Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 that was released after the Disney
the ones that have been
expansion.
Released in the last few years.
Yeah, because I recommend for you, if your PlayStation 2 works, go and get the original Battlefront 2. Brilliant game.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of hours on that as a 16-year-old, a long time ago now. But yeah, so just delving back in those features. Obviously, Battlefront 2 did have a story mode. I enjoyed the story mode for the story. It was well written. It tied into sort of the First Order and what happened to the Empire and how that goes forward. It had a great use of legacy characters, tying them in for the odd missions where you could play as them. That is Han and Luke and Leia. But the actual playthrough, I thought was a bit got a bit boring, a bit repetitive. So although I was enjoying the story, actually going through the story wasn't that good. Where games like Uncharted, for example, where you go, the story's awesome, but then the gameplay is awesome to go with it. And that's what I'm looking for from this game.
Yeah. Similar. They've obviously said it's not open world, but looking at having watched the gameplay and everything, I think I'll still be okay with it. So I am quite a big fan of open world games. So my 2 biggest games of the past 12 months for me have been Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they're huge games, and I've absolutely loved that. But I still think I'll quite like this because it is quite story driven. And they've said they've got the ability to go back and explore, and they've said there's going to be areas that are unlockable and you can only come back once you're basically at a higher level, which I think that'll kind of add something good to the game. No DLC, they've said. That can obviously change because they might come up with something later on, but part of us is a little bit happy about that, because I do hate when they bring the DLC out and it's another £15-20, but you feel like you're missing part of the story if you haven't got it. But if you've already paid 50 or 60 quid for a game, it's then getting quite expensive, and obviously especially if there's kids wanting to play it and things, parents are like, I've now got to fork out for this. So I like that they've got no DLC, no microtransactions. That's your game. You've got what you've paid for. I'm quite happy about that.
Brilliant. Glad to hear that. A couple of force abilities they were pushing in the gameplay was, of course, throwing the lightsaber. Looks really cool. But a new one, which obviously we first saw in The Force Awakens, is I think they've tagged it like the Force Slow. And it's where Kylo Ren stops that laser blast in the air when Poe Dameron shoots at him. So they've shown you in the gameplay that you can use that. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, quite excited. I love seeing the lightsaber throw, because I'm sure that is a move in the Episode 3 game, and I remember doing that as Anakin, like going through a ship. So I'm really excited for that to be back. But the Force slow looks really good. I think they've said like push slow, and there was going to be another Force one. I can't remember. But yeah, I am really excited. I like the way they've said it's going to develop through the game as well. It ties in well with the story that Cal, he's a Padawan, but he's not a Padawan anymore. So he hasn't got full control of all these power, like of the Force, and his lightsaber's not up to scratch when it first starts. But then through the game, he'll have the chance to kind of develop those things. So I like the idea that we'll get to learn new moves, kind of equip the lightsaber a bit better. I'm really excited about that, because they've said like the lightsaber's going to evolve. So I'm hoping it has some customization options. I'd quite like to change the colour of it. Just because I do like those elements of games when like if I think back to Spider-Man, all the suits they had, I really loved that. So I hope there is kind of options like that. But that'll be good. So yeah, I'm excited for those moves. I did see as well there's like where he's running against walls and then over, and it does look really cool. But I was like, in my day we had a double jump. The double jump's gone. He's now Force running off walls, which does look really, really cool. I'm excited for that feature as well.
Brilliant. So just to build on what you were saying there, so obviously I think as you progress through the game, sort of your combos are going to improve. What you can do with the lightsaber is going to improve, and your Force abilities are going to improve as you go through the game as well. Which is a lot better than obviously if they loot boxed it and you could buy these extra moves or buy better lightsabers or buy custom mods. So that's going to be good. So I'm just going to dive into the story now, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So just to delve into some characters, we've obviously got Cal Kestis. He's our main protagonist, played by Cameron Monaghan, who was he played the Joker in the Gotham series.
Which is on my Netflix queue still to watch, but I'm working through Arrow at the moment, so I'll get there.
And he was at Celebration and he came across really well on stage. He was loving it. And obviously the fully motion capped him for the performance as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So he is a young Jedi, a Padawan. And then obviously the Jedi Purge happens, Order 66. And he goes from being a Jedi in training to
an outcast.
Hides his abilities, hides his powers. Essentially gets a job destroying old warships for the Empire, hiding in plain sight. And then from what I gather, from what we see, an accident happens and he has a choice to either help his friend or stay in hiding. And to be honest, I don't think it would be that type of choice. I think more of his reflexes would be he would just help his friend without thinking, oh no, I've just exposed myself. So he exposes himself helping a friend in an accident, and then he's on the run being hunted by the Empire. How does that sound as a story premise to you? What's your thoughts on that?
I like it. It's good. It's got the grit there to have a good backstory, and it's gonna, like, later down the line, I know they've said there's going to be no choice between, obviously in games before there's been choices where you can go like dark side or stay with the Jedi. They've said there's not going to be that choice, but I hope they'll build it in so we'll see him having that conflicted moment of, like, does he want to go for vengeance? Because obviously he's been pushed down this path where people he's cared about have died or have been killed or forced to hide. He's been forced to hide, he's been put on the run. I'd like to see kind of that have a little moral conflict, but in terms of kind of, it does set the scene for this big, I don't know, chase across the universe. So it sounds like we're going to get kind of a lot of exploration of planets, different places. I think it's going to be really good. I'm hoping for a huge game map, but yeah.
Yeah, well, they've said there's going to be planets we are familiar with, and there's going to be new planets as well. And they've said whenever you've been to a planet, once you've unlocked it, you can go to your spaceship and go back to any of these planets that you've already visited. So that is great. The story, for me, I know you haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, it's sort of reminiscent of Kanan Jarrus. Obviously, he was a Padawan fighting in the Clone Wars, and his master tells him to run when Order 66 happens, and he goes into hiding, and he eventually joins the rebellion. Another thing about, obviously, you say Cal Kestis, does he turn to the dark side or not? Obviously, they won't give these things away, but obviously we don't see him we haven't seen him or heard him mentioned in anything later on. So you would think he probably doesn't get involved with the rebellion in a big way. Obviously, do you think there's a chance he does turn to the dark side?
I don't know. I don't think he will. But as I say, we always have those parts within us as people. We think we're great people, we're good people, but we all have parts where sometimes we toy with things that are bad. Or we might have a thought every so often which we think, actually, that was a really bad thought. And he's had something, that could turn him on the path to vengeance and hate and anger and all those things. So I don't want to see him go to the dark side. I don't think he'll go to the dark side, but it would be not nice, but it would be good to see in the game that very human conflict of which side do we choose? Do we choose the right thing even though it's hard? Or do we give in to the easier thing? Yeah.
Yep. So he's been hunted across the galaxy by an Inquisitor who we've seen in Star Wars Rebels and in the Vader comics. They've already said it's the second sister. We don't know what species she is. Or I don't at the moment anyway. I don't know if that's out there. And we know that these Inquisitors also send these new troopers, Purge troopers, to maybe go and investigate sightings of Jedi or Force use before they arrive on the scene. What's your thoughts on... First of all, let's talk about the Purge Trooper. What do you think about their look? Obviously, they've got those big battle staffs that can obviously withstand the lightsaber, so it's going to create some great combat.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a dodge and weave and go. They have said the game's going to be quite combat heavy and melee based. So I'm excited about that, and they've said throughout the game, again, as you develop, you'll be able to kind of hook up different combos and things when you've learnt moves. The Purge Troopers are obviously kind of not big boss, but almost, any game you play with the story mode, you go to an enemy base or whatever you try and take over, and there'll be the character that's harder than everyone else, so that's going to be them. The look of them, I think they're really cool. They're sleek, they're big, they're imposing. And as you say, that staff is going to be hard to break through. So I'm quite excited to have a crack at them. Yeah.
And how do you feel about the second sister? Obviously, we see her sort of stalking her prey, Cal, and then obviously at the end of the trailer, we see her dive onto the cockpit. And I don't know if you noticed, but she's using her hand to shift the joystick.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm quite excited. Obviously, as you say, she's controlling the ship, which obviously takes a huge amount of power. So I'm really excited to kind of see quite a powerful enemy, a big bad. I think it'll be quite good as well, something where it is fresh and it is new, and that's the joy of Star Wars, because you can have it where you have someone we know, even a bad guy we know and love, come in, or they can go, right, okay, we're going to have this cool new character, and this is how they fit into folklore, and this is where they're coming. So it is, I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to play through the game for the story of Cal, but then also find out more about the second sister, where she fits in, where she's came from, where she's going, where she fits in with kind of what's happening.
Definitely, I think it's great because you can't just have Vader show up, because Vader would wreck shop. You'd kill Cal Kestis, you'd kill all Cal's friends, you'd kill Saw Gerrera. So again, you have to do that thing where it's what Rebels did, where they had the Grand Inquisitor and these Inquisitors, is to sort of keep Vader out of the way, because he's the most powerful. Anakin Skywalker is the most powerful Jedi ever. He will wreck shop. So I think it's great that they can use these. Obviously, she appeared in the Vader comic. A lot of the Inquisitors have.
Yeah.
And obviously, the Grand Inquisitor was in Rebels, and so was Seventh Sister and Fifth Brother, I believe. Although I do get the numbers along around sometimes. So we've seen Inquisitors before. This is adding to the Inquisitor lore. Obviously, you have not read the Vader comic or watched Rebels, but do you think by playing this game, and if the second sister is quite an incredible character, would that leave you wanting, I'm going to go and see what these other Inquisitors are about, do you think?
I mean, probably, yeah. Like, if I'm related to something else, as I've just said, Arrow is what I'm currently working through. And I got into Arrow through watching Legends of Tomorrow, and now I've watched Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Arrow. I'm on season 5, nearly finished it. But I've gone away and I've picked up, like, Supergirl comics, Birds of Prey comics, like, I've gone back, I've watched Justice League, which I accidentally paid £12 to watch, but we won't go into. It does pull you in, because you do start thinking, okay, I actually want to see where these characters are going, where they've came from, what's impacted what they're doing, and how they're acting the way they are. So I do think if it's done well, then yeah, I can see myself going and robbing your bookshelf for the comics and the DVDs. Yeah, definitely.
That's great. I mean, it's one of the things I love about Star Wars is how subtly everything sort of fits all together, even if it's just a mention of something that's happened somewhere else or a character. And something they are doing, which you've obviously just been talking about connectivity there. Obviously, another character is Siri Junda, who it looks like was a Jedi during Order 66 and survived Order 66 and went into hiding. Obviously, Cal must meet her later on, and she must sort of like his mentor character, master. So she's actually getting a tie-in comic called Dark Temple, and that comes out in September. So it comes out before the game comes out, so you can maybe get that, read about her, and then you will know about her going into the game. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm really excited. When I watched the trailer, when I watched the gameplay, I was automatically kind of like, I want to know more about her. I want to find out what's made her tick, where she's came from. So then when I found out they were doing the 5-part comic, I was really excited. Like, yes, get me down, put that on pre-order. So I am really excited about that. And I like that they're fleshing out characters with big backstories and they're doing them justice. I like that, because quite often you get characters in games that people love, but they just don't get backstories, or they don't go and get visited back to. So it is. I'm really glad that they're kind of giving her the justice I feel she's going to deserve, because I think she's going to be a really good character. Because there's the question of, had she stopped being a Jedi before Order 66, or was it a consequence of Order 66? Did she go into hiding like Cal, or was she already away from that life? So it's exciting. I'm excited to read and find out.
Yeah, I get the feeling she's going to be a complex character, and it's not just going to be a case of, oh, she's a Jedi, she will help you. I think there's going to be some complexities within that. I don't think she's all good. I'm not saying she's evil, but I'm saying that maybe, you know what I mean? I think there's going to be some questions there about her morals. I
think she's got some life experience. When you look at the gameplay thing, she really warns Cal against trusting Saw. Well, not necessarily warns him against trusting him, but says, like, look, he's going to have his own reasons for doing things, and he's going to go off and do his own things, so you need to watch out for that. Is that because she's got her own reasons for doing things and is going to go off and do her own thing, and Cal needs to watch out for that? But yeah, either way, really excited for the character.
And speaking of Saw, obviously that's a brilliant piece of connective tissue between obviously Rogue One, Rebels, Clone Wars to this game. Forrest Whitaker is back doing the voice of Saw, just like he did in Rebels, which is, I find that brilliant from him. So what did you feel when you first saw Saw?
I thought it was really good. I love how he came in as well, and he's just like tapping on the windscreen of the I don't know if that's the name for it out in space. But I love that he just popped up, and he's off doing his thing. As you say though, again, more connectivity. So especially when you have a game with, Cal's got no one's seen him before. Like, he's not been in any of the shows or anything like that. He's a fresh new character, so it's always not necessarily a risk, because games always have new protagonists, but you need those things to get people in. So those links, like as you say, like Saw, are really good to establish that connectivity and give kind of fans an anchor point to say, okay, I know whereabouts we're at. Especially because the Star Wars universe is so vast. You put a game in and you think, right, okay, what time is this fitting in? Like, is it early in the saga? Is it late? So putting Saw in, you can kind of guess, okay, this is round about where it is, and they can kind of contextualize and say, well, we know what's going on around the universe, we know this has happened, this is about to happen, and work out. So I'm glad he's in. I'm excited he's in. I just like that he just zip wires off everywhere with his gun. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Saw seems, because in Rebels we met Saw. Excuse me. And he's not quite crazy Saw from Rogue One yet, but here he seems a bit more crazy in this game. So
on his way.
He's on his way. I mean, he's been through a lot. Obviously, you've not seen Clone Wars, but obviously, him and his sister are freedom fighters, and his sister's the real leader. And spoiler, I'm afraid, but his sister is taken.
Yeah.
She passes away, and that really does a number on Saw. He has to step up and be the leader. And
I mean, it might tie in then in the game as well. We might see something that's that missing thing. So as you say, at the moment, he's not what he was before, and he's not what he is in Solo. So this might be that bit in the puzzle where that last step into what he is in Solo.
Yep, in Rogue One, you mean? Yep.
Rogue One.
No problem. And then our fourth character we're going to look at is BD1, who is actually sound design for BD1's been done by Ben Burt, who created all the original Star Wars sounds, which I think is great. BD1 is obviously your new buddy. As George Lucas says, Star Wars is like poetry. Obviously in the prequel trilogy and original trilogy, or two, sort of the buddy droid looks after everyone. In the sequel trilogy, you've got BB-8. In Rogue One, you've got K2SO. In Solo, you've got L3. So in this game, we're going to have BD1. One of the things I loved is that he looks like he's got like walker legs, like a chicken walker in ATST. Almost if they took inspiration from ATST.
And made a mini.
Made a mini and cute.
Yeah. I'm really excited. So they've obviously said he's going to kind of be like, well, he is your companion, but he's going to help you out, so you'll be able to get health packs from BD1 when you're playing through. As you go through the game, you can kind of upgrade BD1 so you can increase how many health packs he can carry for you. You'll be able to pick them up from save points, which is really good. They've said as well he's going to be able to explore parts of the environment that Cal can't reach, so I'm really hoping it's like the Spider Bot in the Spider-Man game, which you unlock a bit further in, because you do some quite cool missions with the Spider Bot, so I really hope it's a bit like that. Obviously, it's how you're going to get through kind of all the things that need to move with electricity. BD1's going to go in, override things, overcharge things, which is going to be really good. But yeah, I'm really excited. I like that he kind of goes on your back and just comes along with you, because it does mean he's always going where you're going. Obviously, sometimes when you climb up things, you can see your droid looking at you like, I can't go there. But you know BD1's going to be with you, so I'm excited about that.
Brilliant. He's also going to have, he's got light features, so it's going to be dark in some areas. We're going to have to explore places with like torch, and he's also going to be used for like slicing into like the Star Wars term for hacking, slicing into control panels and networks, opening doors, things like that. So that's our four characters. Just delving back into, obviously we mentioned K2SO there. In that footage we did see a KX security droid. Are you excited to see K2SO? The Imperial version?
The lookalike, the imposter. Yeah, I am. Again, it ties into that thing of things that they're kind of your reference points, so you can be like, oh my god, yeah, I know that. I know where that's from. So I think it'll be really good. And I think I love that in Star Wars, the droids have personality. Obviously, when we think of what we know as robots and things now, like, they don't, so I like that the droids have different personalities, so I like that you can see, yeah, you look similar, but you're not the same thing. So, yeah, excited to see that, and again, excited to take on and have a go at.
Slice one up.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Do you think he'll be voiced by Alan Tudyk, who voiced K2SO? Or do you think those droids might have different voices?
Well, I don't know, because as I say, I feel like they've got different personalities, so in that case, in my head, they've got different voices, but then also I don't know, it would be cool. It might be him but doing a slightly different like nuance on the voice. Alan
Tudyk is certainly capable of giving different personalities to the same voice, and like if you just take I forgot what it's called now, the Clone Show, what's that called?
The Clone Show.
Clone Wars. with Tatiana Maslany plays.
Orphan Black.
Orphan Black. If you look at how she plays, she's the same person, plays all these clones, but how different they are. But
Jodie Comer in Killing Eve as well.
Yeah,
They're the same.
So good actors can do it, and Tudyk is a great actor. So we don't know, but I think it would be great little feature to the game if that did happen.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So just a quick question, what are you most excited about taking on in the game? Is it the KX security droid? Is it the Purge Trooper? Is it the Second Sister? Or is it the Shock Spiders?
Watching the gameplay, I feel like they're going to be actually a little bit of a challenge to break down, because they are quite quick, because obviously they've got a lot of legs. I feel like you can't do your normal like hit, run back, run forward, hit. I feel like you're going to have to like quite quick to take them down. So yeah, excited to have a go at them, but also I don't think that's going to be my favourite one. I'm excited to get further in the story and see more of the Second Sister. But so yeah, that's probably kind of who I'm most looking forward to encountering. Catch me throwing a console across the room when I can't take her down though. But yeah, that's the one I'm most excited to encounter. Although in the gameplay demo, like 9 minutes in, I did hear a little familiar noise and I heard a little booger call. I know you're about to say Varictil.
Varactil,
but in my heart, Boga has escaped from Mustafar.
And Mustafar is on Utapar.
Utapar in the Mustafar system.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. No, yeah, okay, yeah. And has made her way to Kashyyyk and is just living her best life in amongst the carnage of Order 66. But so, I don't know, if I get to ride Boga in this game, that's what I want. Don't think it'll happen, but that'd be what I want. I do wonder about game time and how long. So they've said that the ATA on Kashyyyk is about 3 hours in to the game. So I do wonder what kind of game time is going to be. Obviously, as I've said, kind of games are such a big investment now, and they do cost money, so obviously you do want your money's worth. I don't know how much time I put into Spider-Man, but I know I platinumed Assassin's Creed Odyssey on like 102 hours. So if I could get like 60-ish hours out of the story and then have other little bits to finish up after that, I'd be quite happy with that. So in my head, I'm like, how far in do you encounter the Second Sister? Like, is she just going to pop up at the end for a tiny bit? Is she going to be all throughout?
Well, I've got a feeling that, for example, that lightsaber, I don't think it's his. I think, so obviously, after the events at the start of the game, which is where you help your friend and you expose yourself, you then go on the run. I'm guessing you must go in search of a Jedi temple, and that's where you find the lightsaber. Again, it's just me guessing.
It might be where you find
and I think
Siri as well.
Yep, and I think the Second Sister is chasing you, so I think she'll pop in and out of the game from the beginning, but she'll be like a constant threat in the back of your mind, and she'll arrive at different points to take you on. And then I imagine you'll have a final battle with her. It'll be the last level. So I don't think she'll be constant in every level, but I think she'll be popping in and out. And obviously, when she's not there, the Purge Troopers will be there to get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Kashyyyk level, Cal seems very confident. So I do feel that some time has passed since the beginning of the game to where he's, yes, I am decided to be a Jedi, a force for good, and I will help this rebellion, rather than sort of still running and hiding.
Yeah, definitely, because you do see he does a force flow there, so he's obviously developed his powers a little bit. If what they've said is anything to go by, that at the start he's not got loads, and then as you go on, he develops. But I am really looking forward to the game. I know they've had some feedback already, and they've worked on that feedback, because they got some feedback that the lightsabers didn't look like they did in the films properly, so they've now fixed that, so at the launch of the game the lightsabers will look like they should, like the beams of light will look good. So I'm excited, because I feel like they have put a lot of work goes into every game, because they're big huge things to make, but I feel like they've really thought, what do the fans want from us, and how can we make sure we definitely give them that. So I'm really excited for it.
Are you going to pre-order?
I will get round to pre-ordering eventually, yeah. I don't know whether to pay that extra bit and get the is it Deluxe or Ultimate Edition, whatever they've called it. I'll see what my bank account's doing when I order it.
You see, I would rather, if for a deluxe edition of a game, if they just release it with a lovely figure or a lovely figurine, a model with it, I'll buy it. But when it's like, oh, it's a deluxe edition, and what do you get? Oh, you get some more of the game like you don't get with the normal version. Like, to me, that's like, well, just give us the whole game, and like for a deluxe version, give me something nice, a nice ornament, a figure. I would love it if Hasbro did a 6-inch Black Series, like limited edition Cal Kestis that was only available with the game. That would be brilliant. That would be my dream. Speaking of that, obviously, for example, Saw Gerrera, we never got a Saw Gerrera figure with the Rogue One figures in the Hasbro Black Series. I don't think. I don't own it if there is one. So I need to go and buy it.
It's on the Christmas list.
Yeah. But if what I'm saying is right and there's not, this could be a great opportunity to obviously re-release him because now he's relevant again, which I would love to be able to pick him up. But I think that wraps up everything about the game. Have you got anything you want to add?
I don't think so, no. I am quite excited. They've said that, it's going to feature heavily exploration and puzzle solving, and I think they are quite good elements of the game. As much as we do love combat and taking people on, it is nice to have those elements where you've kind of got to think a little bit more in terms of playing. So I am excited for that. I also love that it looks like it's got some conversation choices. So because they've said you're not going to get that dark side versus like kind of Jedi choice, I'm glad that they have choices for conversation, because otherwise it does have a danger, I think, sometimes if you are just like clicking X to continue, and you can sometimes kind of lose focus on the game. So I like that it'll be conversation choices. I think they have put a lot into it. I am really excited.
Yeah, so a mix of conversation choices, a mix of combat to puzzles. It's obviously going to stop the game getting repetitive for hopefully a 60 to 80 hour gameplay window.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So I think that's going to bring us to the end of our conversation about Jedi Fallen Order. It is out November 15th. You can pre-order it now for PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. So now we're going to move on to some merchandise. Katie, have you bought any merchandise recently? Or if you haven't, have you got any favourite pieces of Star Wars merchandise that you own?
I feel like the last Star Wars thing I bought was a Princess Leia graphic novel, which I still need to read, but it's on the shelf ready to be worked through, and that was like before. But then Christmas, I got a big cuddly porg, which is my fave.
Cuddly porgs for the win.
I love a porg. It is very big and it is very cuddly, and I love it. But yeah, that's kind of my last bit of Star Wars merch that I purchased was the comic, although you gave me some stickers and stuff from Celebration, and the sandwich bags, which I did use to go to work with. I had my sandwich in a Ray bag. Represent. People were loving it. So yeah, that's the last merch I got.
So was your that comic was that available from the Works in the UK, which is discounted?
It was, yeah. So it was like £7, which is good. But to be honest, like Forbidden Planet and stuff, if you go in and hunt on the sale sections, you can sometimes find stuff. Like, I picked up a Supergirl graphic novel for like 99p the other day, and they do occasionally have Star Wars stuff in there. So you can, if you hunt around, you can find a good deal. But that was kind of the good thing about it. I just saw it and I was like, oh, good price. Yep. Let's get it. So if you're after Princess Leia.
So if you're after cheap Star Wars comics, check out the Works in the UK. I think they've got not the biggest range, but they've got Princess Leia, Kanan, and they've also got some from the Star Wars normal run. And your porg, would you say he's big enough for 3 Chewbacca meals?
3 Chewbacca meals. All I know is you can use it as a pillow if you want. Like, you could rest your head on it, definitely.
Would he fit in the microwave?
Oh, if we squished him in, he wouldn't be able to turn round, but he could fit in. Please don't put my porg in the microwave.
I think Chewbacca could feast on him for a while. I myself have had a slow week on the merchandise. No new Black Series for me. But I have got a friend who's got a little girl, and I've been buying her some figures from the Star Wars Forces of Destiny line. And And these deals are awesome. They're designed to look like sort of Barbie dolls / action figures, so I think they're designed more for girls. But I mean, they look great. And I think any boy would enjoy playing with them as well. So I picked her up a Ray with BB-8, and I picked her up a Jyn Erso, and they were under £10, available in the Entertainer in the UK. So get hunting, guys. The deals are out there. Box fresh, case fresh. Great bargains to be had, and I definitely recommend those figures if you've got young ones. So that brings us to the end of the podcast. Katie, are you on social media? Where can the people find you?
I am on social media. On Twitter, I'm at festivebake_ because I do love Greggs. For those in the UK, you'll know what Greggs is. For those abroad, it is the best thing ever. If you ever come to the UK, please have a Greggs. Yeah, but that's what I'm on Twitter as.
Instagram?
Instagram, I am... I've just changed my handle, so can I remember it? Let me get it out. It's... This is where my phone doesn't load. It's KXDXMS93. So basically, K Adams 93, but the A's are X'd out.
Awesome. And I am on Instagram and on Twitter at Pete Hitman Hart, as in the wrestler Bret the Hitman Hart. And Star Wars has its own Twitter account now. At Star Wars was taken, so we are at Balls Star. We've reversed it. Just think what George did. He did the middle bit first, and then he went back and did the first bit. So it's at Balls Star. Hit us up on there. But thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for joining me, Katie.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
And may the force be with everyone.